Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final episode of the TOC podcast. I'm your host, and we have
Owen Osinde, the other host.
And today's episode, we're going to do a little review of this season because honestly, it was an amazing season.
Yes, it was.
It was very like an humbling experience to be here to represent Face. But in today's episode also, we're going to talk about some gems about the past episodes. We have a lot to discuss because in the case you didn't watch any of the episodes or not all of them, we are telling you this season was the best, okay? We're also going to talk about the importance of Face for the community, right? And after, we're going to talk about having our own platform, creating ourselves, and finally, we're going to end with storytelling. What were your favorite gems for this season's podcast?
So, first and foremost, Steve, thank you so much for, co-hosting with me.
Yes.
I know you did the first 2 episodes of the season, and then I came and did the 8. And just for context, we're out here in Montreal, so people know like where we're at.
Yeah.
You came to Toronto, you and the team, and then now I'm here in Montreal to do the other 2 episodes, and then this third one.
Yeah.
But honestly, doing this podcast has been such a humbling experience just because I got to learn so much from the people that we got to speak about. From the get-go, everybody had a great business in what they're doing. They are movers and shakers in their industry. So, I learned so much from each and every person. I know the first person we want to cover
is Jay.
Anthony. And
Jay Anthony, yeah. For me,
this was your episode, right?
That was my episode, but also Jay, someone that I know very well.
Yeah.
And I've worked with Jay in the past as well. And for me, being a foodie, to talk about an entrepreneur in the restaurant industry was something very interesting because I know what I see, but it was telling me more about what's the behind the scene about that industry. And that podcast episode was good because Jay is actually one of the most successful Black entrepreneur in the city of Montreal.
Yes.
And it was amazing to have him. But then after, we had Sandra from the BDC, which this episode honestly was an episode that took me outside of my comfort zone because we're talking about sustainability. I said, well,
sustainability.
Yeah, I have a trouble. Even during my episode, I had trouble saying it, But talking about that was something that was just an eye opener for me to discuss about that. And then you went to Toronto and you did Chandel.
Spoke to Chandel Shand, Isaac Oloalafe. So Chandel, she has a business which she actually helps people with email marketing. And one of the key things that she focuses on is actually increasing the lifetime value of each customer. So one of the key things that we do in business is that we do so much work to get a customer.
Yeah.
So we'll spend money on Facebook ads, maybe it's Google or et cetera. But then once that customer pays us, we have their data, but we rarely ever really utilize that email to really sell back to them. So she gave a lot of insights into her story of how she started her business. And then one of her customers in her cleaning business actually realized, you know what, you're actually a greater marketer than you're a cleaner. You should actually be doing this as a business, which led her down the path of, becoming an email marketing agency and actually helping other people. And it was so cool talking to her because she really understands what emails, what kind of emails really work, and meaning what to write in an email. And if you go listen to that episode, we spoke a lot about the power of words and the power of constructing sentences that get people to press buy again. So those were some cool episodes. That was a cool episode that I got to interview with her and actually learn, just because I'm someone who loves words and understand how to really craft the right sentence and how to position something to get someone to act on something, right?
Yeah, totally.
How do you bring the best, how do you make them happy? How do you make them excited? How do you make them think about something to make an action later on, right? So this covers different type of campaigns. You can have a nurture campaign. You can have a abandoned cart campaign. These certain things just keep your customers top of mind to make them to act, which is to buy your product or your service, was a key gem that she covered.
And I feel like this episode for me was really important because me studying and just working more in sometime the marketing world, I feel like I don't see the full value of emails at this point because of social media. We're so used to social medias.
Yeah, and you're big on social too. You have a huge following.
Yeah. But that's not important for today.
It's not. But you're utilizing a platform like where you have 1,000 followers, like more than you have thousands of followers.
Yeah. I mean, for me on social media, I have like over 30K, for example, of followers. But for me, her episode was really important because when you take a step back, emails were there before social media. Right? So when you think about the importance of email and still a tool that you can use today to either generate more business, but to actually, in French, we say fidéliser.
Fidéliser.
What's that in English more? Fidéliser is like to keep a loyalty, to keep a base.
To keep a fan base.
Yeah, to keep like more like a fan base was amazing. But the other episode that you did with Isaac about venture capitalism.
That was huge.
This was huge because for me, it was amazing to see somebody this important from face to face because let's be honest, you're in Toronto, I'm in Montreal.
Yep.
The people I see in Montreal every day are not the same as you see every day in Toronto. But when you see somebody like him talking about opening a hotel
beside the Pearson Airport.
This is big.
Yeah.
This is huge. And that episode, I don't know what gems you like the most from it, but for me, this whole episode actually made me realize that we are actually building our own platform faster than I thought.
Yeah. Infrastructure is important. You know what I'm saying, Steve? Because what Isaac is doing, he's actually creating spaces and he's actually providing the opportunities for us to prosper. One of the key things us in the Black community, we always talk about how can we increase Black wealth? And this is something that we spoke about in the episode, right? How do we build generational wealth? Well, building generational wealth, it takes asset building. Right. And if you look at what he's doing, he's built a great asset in the hotel, meaning like that hotel will forever stay there because it's his land. He owns that building. He can rent out rooms as a hotel. And he also has a multi-purpose space for Black businesses and entrepreneurs to set up as their HQ when they're starting out their startup. So here you are, you're providing an ecosystem for more Black entrepreneurs to come and utilize and grow their businesses, and they're all under one roof. So for him, he's getting an insight into which emerging tech is coming from Black entrepreneurs, who's the next big thing. And, you know, Toronto's a big hub too.
Yeah, totally.
So he gets an insight into that. Then also on top of that, he also has his own fund, right? So BKR Capital, right? So he's actually investing in these entrepreneurs. So when you look at what Isaac is doing, he's actually really transforming the way that he can actually help the community grow. As much as he is enriching himself and his family, but he's providing us with the platform to all of us to leverage to take that next level so we can also build that.
Exactly.
Also for us to build our businesses. And, you know, one of the key things I said to him was like, you know what? The visions that we have are going to materialize way, way past like when we're older. But it's like the generation after us, like our kids, who are the ones who are going to be in an equal playing field because, you know, us as a community, we're playing catch up. So that was like a great episode just to see the way he works. And he's such a hard worker. And he's really built himself up into becoming a big figure in the city of Toronto.
Yeah, but him having his own fund, he told us that it was limited, the amount of companies he can invest to.
Yep.
And that's the beauty of Face, because Face actually have more companies that he can invest in. And one of them was in the next episode was with Jennifer Winter. So with Isaac, we're talking about, you know, having a fund to help companies. And then this podcast is to present Face, and Face is actually injecting money to help businesses.
Yes.
And then you have Jennifer, which is the first
Black-owned Pilates studio in Toronto.
Yeah, and her podcast episode was amazing.
Amazing. Such a lovely lady. Such a great soul to talk to. And you can see like the vision that she has in really providing a safe space for people of many backgrounds to come and do Pilates. Because, you know, the thing is, Steve, like Pilates, it's such a... When you think about doing Pilates, you don't feel welcomed, especially.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So her as a Black woman opening up the first Pilates-owned Pilates studio in the city of Toronto is a game changer because she's shifting the culture. She has her own space and now gets other people participating in something that was deemed as, this is like a so-and-so person type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's really great on her. And one of the key things I loved about what she was doing is she really broke things down to the basics. When she was talking about building her studio,
yeah,
she took away the the things that stimulate people. So when you go to a gym, it's like very colorful. There's a lot of these different shiny objects. But what she wants to do is actually strip it down for you to feel like at center with yourself to actually enjoy Pilates, because Pilates is a holistic type of
that's true.
exercise, right?
That's true, yeah.
To see what she did and actually utilize face, and also lastly on this, take that leap of faith and quit her job to open up her studio was really inspiring.
And it's so crazy that when you think about all the episodes that we had this season, they all go all together, because then we talk about the leap of faith, and then next thing you know, we had Jochelle. This is actually the owner of the studio we recorded the episodes in Toronto. She was talking about the leap of faith.
Taking a leap of faith too, Everyday Joy Studio, right? And,
exactly.
If you haven't tuned in that episode yet, but Jochelle actually was working at a major Canadian furniture retailer.
Yeah.
And she had climbed the ranks. She had done everything she could to really put herself in a position to be at a decision maker level, but she got passed on for a role. And, she realized that, I have amazing taste. I have amazing style in terms of like understanding decor, but she didn't know what she was going to do next. And the idea for her opening up her own studio and actually utilizing that studio, designing it in a way that is welcoming, that can show off her style and taste, was just inspiring again to see. And one of the key things I really liked what she did is that, when you look at studio owners, they don't really, have like an integration with other products that they have with it. So she has a studio and you can see the couches, the pillows, the vases, the mugs, everything that really embodies decor. But if you go there as a client to use a studio, you can actually buy the products. And she has her own website, which a lot of studio owners don't even do. A lot of studios, okay, here's a space, use it, boom.
And it's crazy because myself being a studio owner, when I watched that episode, I was like, wow, this is so smart.
It's so smart. Yeah. I mean, you guys have an amazing studio too. Like your design, your decor is really on point too.
Thank you. Actually, this podcast today is recorded at the studio of my friend Pavel and I.
Yes.
This is where we recorded the studio in Montreal. But the episode with Jochelle, what was amazing is the fact that I was like, wow. Like, I mean, we talk about this a bit, but the way she was able to have this vertical integration for a business was amazing.
Unreal. You don't see a lot of people doing that. And she's really taking the everyday brand and actually growing it into different verticals, right?
Exactly.
So she has e-commerce. Now she has her space. You can also do like certain events with the everyday brand, right? So I think for her, just being like putting my business mind on, she can expand to other different things other people can touch, feel, and experience under that whole umbrella of what she's doing.
Yeah.
And she's already set the foundation for it, like in an amazing way with the space and the stuff online. I'm excited to see what she's going to do next.
Exactly. And then we had Troy. Troy to talk about being an actor.
Storytelling is huge.
Storytelling is huge. And we're going to tap into storytelling a bit later in this podcast because we have so much to talk about today. And then we had Jean-Yves Gou, right, to talk about Natif, which is very important for us here, being able to create our own platform, and Akila Newton to talk about books and publishing, right? But when we talk about the importance of having our own, I want to come back now to Jean-Yves Gou. I want to talk back to Isaac, and I want to come back as well for Jay. Something that we're starting to see more and more in our community is we're able to go into different industry and build our own. So when we talk about Natif, right, in Quebec, there are no media, no channels that are made for us.
Feels like you're neglected most, right?
Yeah, totally, yeah.
Like you walk in the street, you see a lot of people in our community, but when you actually consume the media, it's non-existent.
Exactly.
And even if they cover it, it's like a token kind of content. Like
exactly.
It's very whitewashed, but it's not really truly authentic to what it is.
It's even worse than that because, of course, you can always turn into, like, let's say, American channels that talks about us, but we're Canadian. This is the TOC podcast.
Quebecois.
We are Quebecois, right?
Exactly.
And the fact that we understand that we can see a bit more about our culture coming from different perspective, but it would be even better if we can see about our culture from our own eyes here, And Jay, restaurant, in Montreal, in Toronto, I'm not too familiar with the industry of restaurants, but in Montreal, most of the Caribbean restaurants were more like casse-croûte. Casse-croûte is like when it's smaller. You go there, you pick up your food, and then you leave. You're not really stay there to eat.
Like ghost kitchens, kind of.
Almost like ghost kitchen. More a bit like dépanneur, like corner store. You know, you go there, you pick up your food, and you leave.
Like
and
a bodega style, as
exactly, like a bodega style. And Jay was able, in the middle of the pandemic, open a restaurant that is a sit-down restaurant that was acclaimed, that won already prizes. And this makes a difference because younger people, when they see this, they're like, oh, it's possible for me to open a restaurant that represents my culture.
And have it pop.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard a lot about Jay Anthony because we share the same mutual friend with Christophe Francois.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
yeah.
I've seen the work that her agency does for Jay Anthony.
It's amazing.
It's amazing, right? They do a phenomenal job. And, you know, I wish I can go visit his, I don't know if it's open right now.
It's not open today.
Sadly, unfortunately. But
you have to come back to Montreal another time for this, yeah.
You got to come back to MTL, baby. So, that's a great insight to understanding like what Jay has done for the industry and also becoming a key figure in as a black man opening like a great restaurant. It's inspiring.
Exactly. And what's really inspiring for that is we are creating more and more our own platform. Like right now, I just pointed like Isaac, Jay, and Jean-Yves, but before we're talking about Jennifer. You know, just the fact that we're able to tap into different spaces. Sometimes is we're lacking the money to make it happen. Yeah. We have the knowledge, but sometimes we're lacking the money. We're lacking the connections. And I do feel myself as a business owner, those should not be reasons that are going to stop you back. Because a lot of people, they have the money, but they don't have the knowledge. And look, they're acting for it to do what they want to do. If you have the knowledge and you want to go forward, it's good for you to just go at it. Because that's what we need, you know. We need people to be able to execute, to do whatever they want to do, just because this will inspire others, and also you will learn from your mistakes. What do you think about that?
No, 100%. I think as a culture, we're movers and shakers. I mean, if you look at music, dance, food, just culture in general, like we are the biggest creators.
Yeah.
Right? But we never are contributing to actually the products and the services that facilitate these things. So I think with what you're saying with the funding and the resources, it definitely should not be an excuse, but it's great to see platforms like Face really provide them with the funding and the access to mentorship to really, you know, bridge that gap to really make their dreams come true. So we're seeing more of these platforms like Face, and even in Toronto, there's other organizations that are looking to do this and help our community.
Yeah.
And the more we start doing this, the more we're going to start seeing more and more people creating and, you know, serving our community.
Yeah.
And it's only a matter of time. You know, it's been a, 100-year journey to get to this point, and there's more to come.
Exactly. We're changing the narrative.
Exactly.
Which is the next point, which was storytelling, right?
Storytelling.
The podcast that was just filmed before this one was the one with Akila, and her story was so inspiring.
Unreal.
She was saying everything is from bootstrap, right? So everything she was doing came from her own pockets. She was acting as herself and going forward with all her ideas. And this is something that I usually see a lot where people can say, oh, enjoy your hobby. But your hobby is
what you love.
It's what you love. Yeah, it's your
what
hustle.
You're passionate about. Yeah.
Exactly. And people need to realize that in the era that we live right now, you can actually succeed and live well from doing what you love, from your hobby, like other people would say, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have so much access now. Like, take it in. Social media, you can build a following by you don't even need money. If you're going to create a story or create a brand or something, you can create that experience online and people will support your content.
Exactly.
Take that money and do something with it. So we're noticing with access to platforms like e-commerce, social media, building an email list, creating events just from like the power of social media, you can really create anything you want to do. And you can also shift that story. So if you have a story to tell, like the way she did, one of the things that I really enjoyed what she liked is she saw something that the Canadian schooling system was neglecting.
Totally.
Right? They're not covering any Black history. So take it in. One of the key things she said was, we just started talking about Black history in Canada since 1996, man. right?
So no, that's crazy.
96, you were like, I was 2 years old. You were probably like maybe
a bit older,
like,
but yeah,
like 7 or 8 years old at the time.
A bit older than that, but yeah,
right. But here you are, you're a full grown adult, and they're not even teaching you your history and the people who came in this country and like the great accomplishments that they've done. So she's really working with these schools and libraries to teach young kids now. So when they grow up, they actually have a sense of belonging.
Yeah.
Right. They know where I'm from. They know who are people other than Martin Luther King or Malcolm X or Rosa Parks. I mean, those are great stories.
Yeah, totally.
But we've heard them so many times that we need to hear other people like the hockey player.
I forgot the name, but she was telling us about, yes.
She's like the Wayne Gretzky of hockey.
Exactly.
She's black and she dominated.
Never heard about her before, right?
Never heard about her before, right? And these are things that young boys and girls need to hear.
Yeah.
So we have like a good picture of what success looks like from a young age.
And what about Troy? I know we had Troy coming in, an actor.
Yes.
He's managed artist as well.
Managed artist, producing, creating movies. He's another great one too. I got a chance to speak to him and just to see the way he thinks.
Yeah.
To see the way he really thinks about storytelling, especially black storytelling. He has this level of depth, which was like so amazing to experience because I was sitting right in front of him. And even though he knows that, hey, this is a very tough story to tell, I liked the way he felt it was like a calling, a duty to really put this into motion and to actually portray it in the screen.
Yeah.
And actually get people to see these stories, right? So going back to what Akila was saying, the stories that we see as black people is like, hey, the slave stuff, whatever. But there's so much inner dynamics between families in the black community, between the community, that story, when you see it, you're like, damn, yeah, that's happened to me. There's moments of times I've been on Twitter and someone says something that I thought I only experienced growing up. Like, like it's like inner workings of just like African culture or black culture. Yeah,
totally.
And you're like, oh yeah, like I thought I was like, you
can relate.
I can have it.
Yeah, like, totally.
We all had the same childhood growing up. So I think he's taking that idea and just finding these unique things that we all go through and making them fun and exciting. And some of them might be painful to watch, but they need to be told. And I think he has that obligation to put that on screen.
Yeah, and now when you think about it, we had different guests from different places, right? Different industries. But when you look at the bigger picture, they all come in together, right? They're all completing each other, such as we think about a Troy as an actor, and then you think about Natif, a network. If Natif is able to accomplish what they want to do, it will benefit for a guy like Troy.
Exactly.
That's an example, right? And then you have somebody like Isaac. I say, well, because I'm so French. In French, it's Isaac.
It's the same thing.
Isaac, what he's doing with his venture and everything can help someone like Jennifer or can help someone like Jay to establish themselves. Because now that you see, for example, there's a hotel next to Pearson, there could be a restaurant in Pearson now, black-owned restaurant in Pearson. And now my questions for you is, you were there for most of the episodes. If you have to choose, which one was your favorite episode, right? Because you're watching this today, maybe you watch all of them, maybe you watch none of them. But I truly suggest that you watch all of the episodes because they all bring a different type of value. They all bring different knowledge, but also can inspire you to pursue your dreams, your passion, and more. But for you, which episode would you say was the one that that inspired you the most?
Inspired me the most. So let me recount the episodes I did. I did Chandel, Isaac Owolafe, Jen Winter, Troy Crossfield, Joshelle, today Akila, and
Jean.
And Jean. Honestly, Jean Yevroux really inspired me because if you really look at his story, he's going against the big boys, CRTC, right? This is the Canadian radio and television company. They control the messaging that we see on TV. And they're controlled, like they're also involved with Cogeco, Rogers, Bell. These are major, major conglomerates. So him as this one person fighting for a space in television to really tell stories that are really like they reflect us, and to go after rejection and still continue fighting. And even when his peers didn't see his vision, he saw the whole Netflix model, the streaming, what the future could be. And he still continued fighting on. And even till today, he's still fighting because there's a petition against Natif to not be able to be on TV because they think Kojiko, Rogers, Bell, they'll say, yeah, we cover this type of content, so we don't need you. So him as this one man here in Montreal still doing it, like you cannot rate that man. You know, that's why it's so inspiring, because it's a David versus Goliath type of.
I swear to you, I was about to say it's like a David against Goliath now. Yeah. And for me as a content creator, I feel his episode was something that inspired me the most, because as a producer as well, it's amazing to see there's people that have been in the industry for so long fighting for us, right? But for me, my favorite episode, I'm totally biased. It's an episode that I actually hosted. It was the one with Sandra from the BDC, just because this episode, first of all, got me outside my comfort zone, but also brought me so much knowledge that I was not totally aware of. You know, when we talk about sustainability, when we talk about the importance in your business and this battle, that this is another industry that's here right now. In the past, we didn't talk about that, right? But we're talking about tech and all. But my podcast episode with her made me realize, like, this is the fight that we're fighting in the next 5-10 years. And as Black people, if we get into that first or more into that, this is actually a way for us to be 2 or 3 steps in advance of other people. But that being said, I feel like we don't want to spoil you more about the season. It was amazing, right?
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to give up the goods. I mean, they can just go back and start from episode 1.
Exactly, right? Totally suggest for you to watch all the episodes. It was amazing. Thank you for Face for having us as
co-hosts,
the co-hosts of this season, and hopefully we might be co-hosts for the next one. We never know. But also, thank you for the BDC for sponsoring this podcast and making sure that we're able to make it happen. But also, I know for a fact that if you listen to the other episode, you're gonna be like me. You're gonna be like Owen. You're gonna have your notes, and you're gonna be taking a lot of notes just because so much value was given for free.
Exactly.
For free.
I felt like I went through like an entrepreneurship school.
I swear to you, that's how I feel.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Even though we're entrepreneurs, you have your own business here, but you're always a student of the game.
Exactly.
And every business owner can offer you something that you did not even know.
And that's the thing you said in the podcast with Aquila, where Denzel actually keep learning, right?
He takes acting lessons, man.
And listening to podcasts, watching podcasts, go out there and go on the net to learn more is actually something that's help you more and be better at what you do, right?
Yeah.
So on that note, this is the end of this season. It was amazing.
It was amazing, Steve. And also shout out to Bavel, shout out to Enzo on the back. Shout out to you as well, man. Like, I couldn't have done this without you.
Thank you. No, we did a good team.
It was great teamwork, man.
And shout out to the whole team at Face. Thank you for having us. Thank you for making this possible. But we're looking forward to actually have you telling us what you like the most about this season, what you want to see more. But also, we want to keep this conversation going, because this is not a one-way conversation. This, at the end of the day, is something where we want to bring you guys knowledge. We want you to actually come back with us with questions, but also Face is there to help you for any of your projects.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, this has been it's been a treat, and as a podcaster, it's great doing another podcast outside of what I usually do.
Yeah, totally.
And but still within the business realm, but something that is not really the brand, the hustle over everything brand that I'm used to, but. No, I had a great time doing this.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Take care.
And we'll chat to you soon.
Ciao.
Peace.